Hey guys, I'm Alachia, and I'm a WoW addict. This is another episode of WoWcast, the YouTube version. So I am streaming my Twitch, my play of World of Warcraft this time around on Twitch. Got to remember, the first time I played, there was no such thing as Twitch. It was very hard to record your video. It took a lot of resources, and now look how easy it is. So yeah, if you wanted to check that out. It's twitch.tv/Alachia. But I wanted to also make a couple of these YouTube videos every once in a while, just sort of check in with you guys and let you guys know, in case you don't want to watch the Twitch, how it's going and what I'm thinking about the relaunch of WoW on WoW Classic and yeah, how it's been going more or less. So launch was kind of interesting. Up until that moment, about a couple days before launch, about a week before launch, actually, I hadn't even fully decided if I was going to play WoW Classic. But then I decided, what the heck, I'll reserve a name, I'll subscribe for 1 month, and, maybe 2 weeks in, I'll be done. I'll be set. I'll just have had my fill, I'll have itched that itch, and then we're done. But, now we are about what are we, 2 weeks later now, 2.5 weeks later. I'm like it's insane. It's absolutely insane how invested I am in this game again. Literally the same feelings I had from 15 years ago. The same feelings. It's incredible. The graphics, which were my biggest reservations, don't bother me as much as I thought they would. I feel like because we now run much more powerful PCs and graphics cards, I almost feel like I'm re-experiencing an upgraded version of my original WoW experience. I don't know what it is. I was like, well, was all this stuff actually in the game? But my monitor and my graphics card were my limitations, so I was never able to see all of this detail before. I'm not quite sure, but I'm absolutely amazed. Like, the shadow quality is so precise. I love the movements of all the different blades of grass and the flowers and the weeds. Those are things I just didn't see before. Maybe because I was running such a crappy, graphics card, back in 2005. So, it's been actually interesting, and they actually kept the more upgraded version of the water rendering, which is really beautiful. And of course, I'm just sort of reappreciating or re-admiring the sound. Like, whoever was a sound engineer for this game, they did such an incredible job. If you turn up the ambience and everything, it just really adds to the immersion of the game. I don't actually play with the music on. I play with my own music on Spotify, but I turn up the, all of the other elements so I can hear water gushing or the sound of Iron Forge kind of like breathing, and just, the flapping of the wings when you're riding the griffin, the chirping of mosquitoes and whatnot in the wetlands. I love it. I love it. So launch, though, was a little bit painful and a little bit annoying. I'm not going to lie. The queues were insane. The fact that they underestimated how many people were going to come in and play, I don't know if I can really blame them, because even I was like, oh, there aren't going to be that many people who come back. I mean, there'll be a bunch, who were like, especially people who've been in private servers and love playing the sort of classic vanilla experience. They'll be back, but how many people are actually realistically going to come back? A lot. They started off with, like, it's just so funny because they started off with the name reservations with like this teeny bitty list of server names. And then, like, by the day of launch, they kept having to add more and more servers because they were just being jammed with, like, so many people trying to get into this game and play. What I originally had settled on was to go to Scarum PvP realm. And that day at launch at 5 p.m. when it launched on my server, or my time zone, I had like about an hour queue, a Ziggs ahead, 2 or 3 hours, and then Jeppy suddenly was like, I'm at a 36-hour queue. Or sorry, I'm at 36,000 position in queue. And it wasn't so much that we wouldn't wait, to have Jeppy get in at 36,000 position in queue, which probably would have been 3 or 4 hours. That one time is no big deal, right? But it's the fact that it was at 36,000 position that really indicated to me that this server would be insane to try to get into day after day. For the next couple of days, it was going to be a continual problem. So at that point, they had just opened up a whole bunch of other servers at launch. And so we saw that Crom Crush was online as a PvP server, and it was going to be East Coast. So he was like, who wants to come to Crom Crush with me? And everyone was like, no, 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 no. But then he said 36,000 Q, and I was like, I'm going. I'm not. I want to be on a newer server that's not gonna have the queue time issues that these other servers have that were already full prior to launch. So we went to Crom Crush, which is kind of disappointing because it's what I had planned to do, is go to Scarum. And I think a lot of people had this experience too, where they had these plans to be on these servers with their friends or other people they knew. And it was just like, you couldn't do it. Like, realistically, you would be wasting so much of your time in queue. So it just made more sense to move to a different server. So that's what we did. World servers down.
World server down. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought I could play on launch day. That was pretty dumb. Pretty naive.
Yeah, but it's the experience, isn't it?
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's right.
Also, you figured they would have had their shit together. Like,
Yeah.
The thing
We
is,
only had like 15 years.
they had a stress test, but nowhere near enough people go on those stress tests.
Yeah.
Comes
Load-
nowhere close to what they're going to
testing.
get hit with.
Yeah.
Nowhere close.
What's
Well.
the Twitter storm saying?
I'll just play MTG on my laptop. And I really didn't have too much problems with queues from then on out. There's, a couple here, maybe 45 minute, an hour here. If you tried to log in at primetime peak hours, like around 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night, yeah, you'll probably experience 2-hour queues. But if you'd logged in prior to that, you're all right. We didn't have as many world server down issues as I feel like other people did. There were a couple of times here and there, but overall, moving to that the newly created server ended up being a good thing. Now, getting in the game, it felt crazily empty. And this is due to the implementation of layers, which I felt like was a huge mistake. It was awful. I felt like I was robbed of an experience that I should have had with a clusterfuck of people on a server. Instead, it was a ghost town. I didn't see anyone. And this is obviously due to us going on to a newly created server. So obviously there wasn't going to be a ton of people on our layers as well, because there were so little people who had come to that server just then. And we zoned in, and we started in the human zone, and we decided we wanted to quest in Dunmore. So we ran ourselves all the way from Northshire all the way to Dunmore. And there was no one there, like not a single soul anywhere. It was just like we had an entire server to ourselves, and it just felt awkward and weird. And I know that it was probably necessary in order to make this launch happen. But we couldn't help but bitch and complain nonstop that, this is 2019 now. There's no reason why Blizzard can't work it out to have servers that are running a game of this, this old on the technology that we have today, why this couldn't have been done without layers. I find layers horrible. I cannot wait for them to get rid of it. They're supposed to be getting rid of layers in phase 2. But yeah, it's been a very annoying experience. There was a time when we were all sort of questing in different areas, and Flip, my best friend, was on a different alt character, and he happened to come upon a rare Mechanostrider or Mechano whatever. And we were like, oh, we're all going to raid it, right? Like, so we're going to get together, we're going to raid it and just see what drops, because apparently a nice 10 slot bag maybe drops from it or whatnot. Then we're all like, okay, so we drop our group, we form a new group, and as soon as we do that, the mob disappears in front of him because it was on his lair and we invited him to join our raid to fight it, and it disappeared. It was like, oh, God. It just really sucked. And then by the time we actually decided to try to exploit the lair to our advantage, because we're on a PvP server, and we are doing the warrior quest right now, and we had to go to Stone Talon Mountains, which is deep in horde territory. It sucks. And we were being camped to death by this fucking mage and his group. And we were just thinking, oh, what if we can just hop to a different lair, and then we won't, we'll be off his lair. And so like we had someone from our guild invite us to a different lair, and it didn't really work. So it was like, okay, that just, even trying to exploit this thing was like, I can't make any use out of it. It just sucks. I know other people have been able to exploit it quite well in order to do AoE farming, but we have no interest in doing that. We just wanted to use it to get to a less aggressive lair of horde. But yeah, that didn't really work out for us because every lair had a horde camping group, and then it was very hard to jump to very specific ones, and sometimes it never worked. So yeah, I cannot wait for them to get rid of that in phase 2. It made the overall beginning experience hell. I thought it was supposed to help with questing and whatnot. It didn't really feel like it did. But then again, who knows? Maybe if they hadn't done it, we would all be bitching because it would have been a clusterfuck and it would have been so terrible having a million people trying to kill one mob, etc. So yeah, I mean, it had to be, that's fine. I hate it though, and I can't wait for it to get rid of it. And then the other part is, I think a lot of people are trying to experience this classic launch in different ways. Some people, it's a race, right? It's like get to level 60, down the bosses right away. And it was actually very interesting to me because I didn't know how fast someone would do it, right? I knew that the world record was about 4 days for getting to level 60, but I think someone did it in under 4 days. And it was just the most surreal experience having just been on the server, a fresh server, and 3 days later, someone's like, ding, 60. Well, not on my server, but, in the world. And I just was like, what the fuck? And then like the next day, they're like, MC cleared, Onyxia down. And I was just thinking, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? And again, it's a different type of gameplay, right? For some people, this is about doing it as fast as they can. They've been practicing, a lot of people have done this on private servers multiple times. It's just like, they don't even have to think about it. It's all muscle memory. It's no big deal. But, for a lot of us, it's a different experience. We haven't touched this game some of us in over 10 years. So I'm sort of like slowly wading back in, trying to enjoy like things that I barely remember doing. And then here they are just like, bam, bam, end content, done. And I was just thinking, the last time when, WoW Vanilla launched back in 2004 or 5, whatever, it took quite a while for people to get to level 60. And then on top of it, it was still like another 150 days before they cleared MC. And then on top of that, another, almost a year before they cleared Onyxia. It was like a learning process. People were just sort of figuring things out. There was sort of a pacing to the end game. And now it's just like, done. So it is, what I'm trying to say is it's a very different experience going through the WoW, the Azeroth again, but having such a difference in perspective of what endgame means. Like it almost seems like the endgame is just like, meh, like it's done, one and done, not a big deal. So for me, I'm prioritizing the content. I'm prioritizing like enjoying my time out in the world, questing. I don't want to AoE grind in a dungeon. I just want to go out and sort of experience the world again, learn to hate fur blogs again, or timber blogs, or whatever the hell they are. Hate Defias. Hate the kobolds again. Just reacquainting my hatred for many, many mobs, and different areas and tons of running. And as much as I complain about all those things while I'm actually out in the world, there's a part of me that just sort of really enjoys it, actually, which is sort of this coming together again of experiencing these things and these challenges that you can have if you're not sort of min-maxing your leveling experience. But more power to the people who that's their thing, and congrats to everyone who made it, to 60 in 4 days. That's insane. And such a lack of sleep that I could never even attempt to do at this age. So yeah, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving a lot of things, but then there are things that obviously I dislike a lot, and I will never stop complaining about them during my vanilla WoW experience here, or my classic WoW experience here. Bag space. Holy bag space issues. I don't know how many times we're always bitching about no bag space. It is just this insane issue. One, you can't just go to the auction house and get the highest level bag because you don't have the second problem, which is money. No money. We're sitting there trying to train all of our skills, right? And Flip's like, I don't have money to train my next warrior ability. And I'm like gauging. It's like, well, his warrior ability is probably more like better for the group than me upgrading certain healing spells because, I can downrank in vanilla or in classic. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep downranking, stat crit, whatever. Here, you can have my 30 silver so that you can train, your next warrior spell. And you keep having to do that, and sort of like, I don't have any money to train. Like, here's our pile of money. This is all I have. I hope this is good enough for you guys. And then, it's just sort of this constant problem. But at the same time, it's also a challenge. And I kind of find it interesting. And it's just sort of nice to like appreciate what it takes to get to the next rank of your spell or to learn a new spell, etc. Drop rates, of course, in vanilla or classic are just, it's a pain. It's a real pain. It takes forever. Sometimes you're just questing for hours waiting for that last drop for a quest item you need. We were out in Red Ridge last week questing, and there's these stupid shaman tokens, or I don't know what they were. Oh my God. There was like 5 of us questing, and just forever to drop. And I was like, this is the worst quest ever. And then, of course, did I mention bag space? Yeah, bag space. It's going to be an issue. I rolled tailoring so that I could get us bags ASAP. And right now I'm on the silk pack, which is the 10 slaughter. So now I'm sort of farming silk and heavy leather from the AH, the heavy leather, because none of us have skinning. And yeah, making as many 10 slot bags as possible because just the quest items alone already take up a ton of space. And then on top of it, you have all your potions, and then you have, for me, I carry around water with me everywhere I go, your Band-Aids, and it's just not enough bag space. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting Mage Weave eventually, but yeah, when I hit that 150 mark on tailoring, I was able to get that silk pack, and I was like, yeah, I did the little dance. I was like, yeah. But yeah, and then the other crazy part, which is a little sad on my part because it just shows how antisocial I am. I am enjoying the hell out of being in an MMO again, being with other people. In a populated world surrounded by other real people, and then meeting new people. And yes, that makes me sound pathetic, and I've always sounded pathetic when it comes to this, but I don't really make friends, really. I don't get out of the house. I don't do much. I don't socialize. And the few times that I have, I just don't really make connections, right? There's just nothing that really bonds me to other people. Whereas now with this game, I'm like talking to people again, and having conversations with people on a daily basis. I know it sounds pathetic. It really does, but I can't help it. It's just sort of who I am at my core. And so being able to be online and have that commonality of needing, 10 no paws or whatever together gives you that, that impetus to actually have the conversation and experience things together, because those are the things that bring you together. And yeah, I love it. It's strange, people I haven't talked to in years, suddenly being able to talk to them every day because we're playing WoW again. And, I'm not gonna, I don't think I'm going to I'm going to try to enjoy this for as long as I can. Right. And the fact that I'm a little bit addicted kind of does worry me. About last week, I started a hunter alt, which I am loving. Its name is Scott Pilgrim versus the World of Warcraft. No, just yeah, it's Scott Pilgrim. And then Flip, he made a hunter alt called Todd the Vegan, and we've just been having a blast, like looking up stuff about what's best for hunters and hunter pets, etc. And then on top of it, I'm doing a bunch of research for their warrior stuff, because both he and Azixa are warriors, and I want to be able to get them the whirlwind axe at level 30, which is going to be a challenge and interesting. And then looking up, how to complete their current warrior quest that they're on so they can get the awesome gear that they want. At the same time, helping all the other guildies sort of catch up to our mains so that, we can all start to quest together and level together and do dungeons together. It's, I don't know. I'm having a blast doing it. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know how long it'll last. I'm not going to say it's like, WoW for life again, because I don't know, like it could be this thing where I'm done, one and done after a month. But I feel like I'm going to enjoy just sort of taking my time to 60. Now, I don't know if everyone else feels that way. I don't think everyone does. I think Azixa, my husband, sort of sees a lot of it as a chore, and he doesn't like the basic leveling stuff. He loves exploring, and he loves looking at being able to exploit the game in any way he can in terms of seeing new zones or explorations. He's constantly going into places he shouldn't be because he's too low level, but he loves that sort of challenge. That's the way he likes to WoW. And we're in the middle of questing in Red Ridge, like trying to kill these elite mobs, and he's like off scaling a wall and like going like, "Hey guys, I'm climbing this wall. I'm on a mountain and I can see Searing Gorge. I can get inside Searing Gorge." And we're just like, "Dude, there's a road that takes you to Searing Gorge right here, right?" He's like, "Yeah, but I'm on a mountain doing it." We're like, "Okay." And he's enjoying playing the auction house stuff. He's trying to corner the white kitten market right now. And yeah, I think that everyone has their own way of experiencing, and whether or not that takes them to 60, you don't know. Anyways, that's kind of like where I am with World of Warcraft WoW Classic right now. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of your experience of WoW Classic so far, or are you tempted to play this game? I'd say if you normally have an addiction issue, stay away. This game is just as addictive as it was 15 years ago. It's not, nothing's changed. If you have addiction issues, yeah, it's not good. I don't even know how, luckily I have, Azixa who like starts to message me, it's like, "I think it's time for you to stop now." And I'm like, "No, one more quest." It's like, "No, I think you should be done now." So I have someone who's kind of like keeping me in check a little bit. So I do have some sort of sense of control of things, but not really, to be honest. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.